Come on in, guys. Today I'm going to be talking about how to make your home as low tox as absolutely possible. Now, step one is having your guests and yourself take off their shoes. So Jonas took off his shoes this morning because those shoes can literally track in bacteria, molds, and a bunch of contaminants into your house that we don't want to have. The next thing that I want to talk about is, if you notice, we have very minimal furniture here. So it's a lot of hard surfaces. Hard surfaces are much easier to keep clean. Also, materials like carpets and rugs can off-gas VOCs, they can harbor bacteria. We want to have as many hard surfaces in the home as possible. So again, super easy to clean, and then also it's not going to be harboring that mold, bacteria, and off-gassing VOCs. The other thing about this house is that these wooden floors are true hardwood. They are not any man-made or synthetic materials. It is just a European oak. So that, again, is reducing the risk of off-gassing toxic chemicals. While we're talking about air quality and VOCs, I would like to point you in the direction of our air filters. So we have 8 or 9 Jaspers. So I love this. It's the highest quality air filtration, but they also look really beautiful. So this is going to ensure that we are having high quality air all throughout the home. Now, I actually measure the air quality in every single room. So it's going to be looking for things like VOCs, PM 2.5, and so much more. I'll show you on my phone in a second what the device is that I use and what report it gives me. It also measures things like the light exposure. So if you're getting too much UVB or UVA in your home, it will let you know. Same thing with noise. So we haven't gotten our entire system of shades installed yet. I will talk about that as we move throughout the house, but ensuring we're not getting too much UVA and UVB while we're seated at our workstations is also really important. So let's keep going. So the next thing as it relates to air actually is we're in Austin. It's way too hot to have these open right now, but we will be opening these doors completely to let fresh air in. So CO2 can build up if we don't have any airflow. So really important. If you're living in a place that you can open up the doors or windows, I would highly encourage you to do that because we know that the air inside is actually more, let's say, toxic than the air outside. So we want to have that fresh airflow. Another thing that you could do is use plants. So I know that plants like snake plants can be really beneficial in filtering the air quality. We haven't yet gotten all of our plants or chosen what plants we want to have in the home, but we do know that our air quality is superb because I measure it. The next thing that I want to talk about, if you can pan up to the lights, Jonas. So we had all of our lights changed. These were able to be adjusted to warmer tones. So we have these on the warmest tones possible throughout the house. We do need to finish changing the super high lights. Our ceilings in our living room and kitchen are like 35 feet, so we need to have someone special come in and do that. But these are all really warm tones so that we're not getting unnecessary blue light, especially later in the day. So during the day, we mostly just want to have natural light. If we weren't filming today, I would mostly just have the natural light coming in from outside. So if you can, or you're buying a new home, look for a home with a lot of natural light. We haven't gotten our new furniture yet. We have a ton of different things coming, but these are old furniture from LA. So this couch has not been sprayed with any of the flame retardants or additional VOCs. So our furniture can really off-gas harmful materials as well. So there are new companies coming out. I think Crate & Barrel even has a version of like a green, but you can look for like Green Guard or GOTS certified for low toxin furniture. All of our new furniture is custom made, and it's made with natural fabrics like wool, linen, natural organic cotton. So I'm excited to get all of that in, but this is what we have for now. Also, the lighting in the lamps over here is actually orange. So this is going to help to optimize your circadian rhythm. So in the evening, once the sun sets, we can actually view the evening sunset here, which is really great. And then we turn on these orange lights throughout the house. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few different devices around the house. This is the main device. This is like the hub for the air thing. So I have other multiple monitors throughout other rooms that I will show you, but this is going to give us a high level overview, but I'll also show you the app, which is much more comprehensive. So this is constantly monitoring the air quality. So again, we have an air filter right here. It's really important to get an air filter as close to the kitchen or where you will be cooking as possible, because we know that not only does the gas range, which we will be swapping out eventually for an electric range, not only does that produce harmful chemicals for breathing in, but also just the mechanism of cooking can create some harmful particles that are entering the air, because every time I cook, Jasper goes from green to red. So we know that it's really working hard to clean up the air. I also turn the Jasper on as high as possible prior to cooking. The other thing that is important to note is that we do have a great hood. So when choosing our kitchen, it was important to us that, well, it's important to me mostly because I do the cooking, that we have a great hood. So it does suck most of that up. So really important to consider that. Okay, I want to talk about a few of, let's say, appliances or tools that I have in my kitchen. So this is a Simply O3 ozone generator. This has a variety of different settings, but this I actually use to clean fruits, vegetables. You could even clean meat, but it actually generates ozone. And then you put everything in here and it will clean it. It's on a time cycle, so it's great. This, I had to look really hard for this actually, but this is a metal salad spinner. So the top is plastic, but all of the inside components are metal. If you can find one that's completely metal, please let me know. I will get it ASAP. But this is how I do my drying of the vegetables and my salads after that, just to ensure that they are nice and dry. Next thing I want to talk about is actually my coffee setup. Guys, I'm getting a ratio coffee maker, which I'm thrilled about. It was supposed to be here today. It's not yet. So we'll just throw up a photo of what this is going to be, but it's going to simplify my life a lot. So currently what I'm doing is I'm using this is actually from this morning, but I'm using the glass Chemex with a stainless steel filter. And then we have my coffee in here. I'll show you the coffee that I like. So we have this right here. I love this biodynamic coffee. So it's biodynamic is even better than organic. So use this for my coffee. It's a medium roast. So really love that. And then I use just a pour over and then pour over every single morning. I also ensure that I'm using this filtered water. So water filtration is a key component of health and home optimization. This is reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is the highest quality of water filtration. It literally strips everything. So after I'm done with that, I actually use this MyU device. I will put in some minerals. These are the body bio minerals. People often ask me that. And I will just put some in there, turn this on. And so this device is actually going to restructure the water, and it's going to mix in the minerals at the same time. So if you are doing RO water, would highly encourage you getting a restructuring device and adding minerals to that. So that'll start spinning, which will be great. And that's my coffee setup. Again, super excited for the ratio coffee maker because it's all metal and it's gonna do this entire process for me. But that's a few of the things that we have here. The other thing I would say, just for general health optimization, this isn't so much keeping home low tox, but put everything that you're gonna use in an area that it's really easy. So we often use creatine, so we have it right here. We often use collagen peptides, so we have it here. We often use the colostrum, NAD. So these are all things that actually go into my morning coffee. So put things in an appropriate place that you can reach them easily. The next thing would be all glass. So, I mean, you can tell we've been huge Erewhon fans. Almost all of these are just filled with these glass mason jars from Erewhon. So this is what we drink out of. We never are drinking out of plastic. We even have the shaker cups that are metal. So we're either using stainless steel or metal to really reduce our plastic exposure. Okay, now we're gonna talk about utensils, cooking utensils, pots, pans, things like that. So always using stainless steel is ideal. You can also use wood. It gives me a little bit of pause because it can potentially harbor bacteria if it's not cleaned the right way. So definitely stainless steel utensils for everything that I do. We also have different variations of pots and pans. So cast iron is something that I use all of the time. I also use these Extrema pots and pans. So these are 100% ceramic. I have a few others like Caraway, and then there's also Green Pan that is ceramic coated, but I think the gold standard here would be pure stainless steel or pure 100% ceramic. So you're never going to have erosion and then you're scratching into that, non-ceramic surface again. We always want to avoid things like Teflon, which includes PFAS, which are forever chemicals. So really important and a kind of simple upgrade, to be honest. So the next area would be cleaning products. So we know that there's many cleaning products out there in the market with harmful additives and chemicals in it. So I try to do the most natural versions as possible. So for pretty much all of my all-purpose cleaners, glass cleaners, things of that nature, I'm using Branch Basics, which I absolutely love. For my dishwashing detergent, I'm using this Dirty Labs 2-in-1 bioenzyme dishwasher detergent and booster. And then for sanitizing, so whether that be some of the medical grade devices that we have after use, or even just this kitchen surface. So anytime we bring packages from the outside, we always sanitize. We do try to keep it isolated to our supplement room, the counter in the supplement room, so we're not just tracking all of this dirt and bacteria and grime that's on the packages throughout our house. But this is actually called Force of Nature. We also used to use this in my clinic, and it actually completely sanitizes to a medical grade all of the surfaces. So but it's also non-toxic, so really important. So you would just dump a little ampule in here, some reverse osmosis water, and it'll actually generate that for you. And I think it lasts about 10 to 14 days. So this is if you need to sanitize surfaces. I also have my house cleaner, use it in things like our bathroom, so really important. I also want to mention these products. So they're called Homebiotic. So these actually help it's a probiotic spray to reduce potential mold. So if there's areas maybe around the kitchen sink or a bathroom sink that mold could develop. Also, if you have a washer that has that, it's a front loading washer. I used to spray this in our old place. We don't have that washer anymore, and I'll talk about why in a minute. But the front loading washers really can develop a lot of mold in that front little seal. So I would also use something like this there. So helpful for mold. Okay, now I'm going to show you my laundry room. So first of all, thank you if you ever replied to my story. When we first moved in, I asked what's the best washer and dryer, and I had a massive influx of Speed Queen. And I will say that I think it is absolutely the best. So this is our washer and dryer unit. It is Speed Queen, obviously in matte black, but it is super quick. So it washes the loads in I think about 30 minutes, and then it dries it in about 30 minutes too. But the special thing about this is the ozone purification that I actually use to wash the laundry. So we no longer need to use any laundry detergent of any kind because it's actually cleanses the clothes with ozone, and to get an extra whitening boost, it will infuse oxygen into it. So as soon as I turn on a load, you'll see that this actually kicks on, and so it's generating ozone to cleanse the clothes. The other thing that I mentioned is the type of washer. So if you're in the market, I would not recommend a front-loading washer. I've had them in multiple places in the past, and that plastic ring in the front definitely breeds mold. So in this washer, there is no areas for mold to actually develop. It's all steel inside, and we do have the top of it cleaned every single time someone comes to clean the house, because again, we want to ensure there's no mold. We even spray some of the anti-mold in there. But to be honest, this type of washer really is not prone to getting mold at all. So very important. All right, now we're gonna go check out my bedroom. So again, a lot of hard surfaces. So these are all blackout blinds, but we're actually replacing them all. These will be electronic shades that come down, and it will actually lock into a light lock system. So when we do the full house tour, once we have everything, I will make sure to show you that, but it will be completely blackout. But for now, as you see, it's literally just our bed in here. There's nothing else, no televisions. And we actually have 2 Jasper units in here, because it's so important that while you're sleeping, you literally have as low to 0 VOC as possible. So for the bedroom, you want to again have hard surfaces. You want to have air purification in the bedroom for sure. All of our sheets on the bed and the bed itself is organic. So a lot of beds can actually off-gas things like formaldehyde, which can be harmful to our health, especially over time. The sheets, everything on the bed is organic. The only thing that isn't organic on the bed is an 8 sleep, which I'm not going to talk about 8 sleep benefits right now. I have seen a lot, but this is really more so just focused on how to have a low tox home. The other thing I want to talk about is when we were in LA, we were sleeping in a Faraday cage. We can throw a picture up from when we were doing that, but we actually don't need to do that anymore because we are really much more, let's say, off grid. We don't have neighbors right next door to us. And I measure the EMFs in this room with this tri-field meter. So what is most important is actually where you're going to be sleeping. So, and by the way, my husband and I have separate blankets because we find that it is more beneficial for our sleep to not have, the same blanket. So we have individual blankets there. But anyways, going back to the EMF. So you want to measure the EMF where you're actually at and where you're sleeping. So if I measure it right here where my head would be, do you want to come over here, Jonas? We have only, 2. It's very, very low. So if I went to go measure this by, let's say, the 8 sleep, or I went to go measure it by the air filter, anything that's plugged in with an electrical current is going to have, some level of issue. Here is the RF frequency, so like 0.071, but this is where my head's at and this is where my body's at. So we want to make sure that this is on the low side. So it can fluctuate a little bit, like 0.56, 0.86, but that's how you want to do your measurements, where you're actually at in your bed while you're sleeping. Because if there are some, RF fields coming from the 8 sleep or coming from something that's plugged in, like the air filter, it's not a big deal because it's not actually reaching where you're at. We also have a fan in here, so reducing the CO2 level. All of these things are important. Okay, welcome to my bathroom. Again, we have a lot of hard surfaces in here. We have all organic rugs throughout the bathroom. Our towels are all organic. And I want to point, if you want to zoom up, Jonas, to the water shower filter. So this is Nofora water shower filter. We have these on all of the showers that we're actively using. And we are setting up our final date to get our full whole home water filtration installed by Nofora. So then every single faucet, every single shower, the bathtub, everything will be filtered with Nofora water. The other thing that I want to point out in here is that we have a bidet. So this is amazing. You don't have to get one that's this fancy, but this is heated. But bidets not only help to, reduce toilet paper usage, but I also think that they're far more cleanly. So I think this is like an absolute essential for anyone if you're in a home and you're going to be there for a while. They also have ones that are a couple $100 or maybe $100 if you're in an apartment, but I find it to be way more hygienic and just better option. Throughout the house, we have these low tox microbiome friendly hand washes, so that also can be really helpful. Okay, we are in my closet, and this might be a little bit of an overkill, but just wanted to put it out there so that you can start thinking through these things. The majority of these clothes in this area, which is what I typically wear for the most part, are organic. So I love Skin Worldwide, which is great, or they are like natural materials. So we have like cashmeres and wools and linens. These are organic from Made the Label. And yeah, so the majority of these are either natural fibers, organic cotton, linen, or wool, or they are, certified organic materials. So yeah. Making sure that clothing, if you're interested in that, is low tox as well, can be really helpful. Okay, moving on, I want to talk about a dehumidifier. So we're also getting whole home dehumidification installed. So the AirThings air monitor that I'll show you in a sec, it actually monitors your humidity levels. And I've been taught that anything over about 50% humidity can lead to mold growth. So right now, because our humidity was higher than I would have liked it on the AirThings, we just have one little dehumidifier, but the whole house will have dehumidification installed soon. We're also getting an ERV. So we already have the highest MERV that you can get for our HVAC, which is our whole home air filtration system. We also change those like clockwork. I think that 6 months is what is typically recommended. I have my husband doing it every 3 months because I definitely notice a difference when they are getting clogged or getting degraded a little bit in our air quality. So number one for HVAC is get the highest quality MERV filtration. I think it goes up to 14. Some systems can only handle a lower number, so just check with your system in particular. And then we want to manage humidity. So again, not letting humidity get over about 50 or 55%. And then we're also obviously, again, using the Jaspers all throughout the house. So that's what that's for. This is my podcast room. Just a quick note, so I do have a rug in this room, but this is a 100% organic wool rug. I got it from a company called Nordic Nuts because, again, we want to not have a ton of different chemicals off-gassing in the VOCs. But for the most part, we actually don't have rugs in the house. We just need one for sound quality here. And then again, these drapes will be out of here at the end of this week, actually, and then we will have more of a hard surface shade that will be going on. So if you want to come in here, okay, so this is my office. I again have 2 different air filters. We have a Jasper. This one actually is Air Things. And then this little device on the floor is that superhuman home measurement. So let me grab my phone and I'll show you what I actually use that for. And then the Air Things as well here. Okay, and then so this is that little device that I've been mentioning all throughout the tour. So these we have in every single room. So I'll show you on my phone in 1 second what this actually shows me. And then this, I honestly can't endorse this, just mentioning it. It's supposed to mitigate EMFs, but I really don't know if it works. So the best thing that you can do is do what I have done, which is move to an area with less EMFs. If the EMFs would have been high in my bedroom, we were going to do EMF blocking paint over the entire bedroom, so it'd be completely 0 EMF. We still might do that, but at this point, the EMFs are so low that it's not really a concern. So don't really know what I think about those EMF devices. Throwing it out there if you want to look into it and you think it works, but not a huge fan. Okay, so this is what we have going on that Air Things monitor. So CO2, VOC levels, temperature, humidity, light, ambient noise, and pressure. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through the 2 ways that we're measuring the air, the noise, the light, etc., UVB and UVA exposure. So I'm on my first one, which is, this is the ultra human device. So it links in with a ring. You can do blood biomarkers to give a really comprehensive look. But it says current home score is 82. And the reason why it's 82, so the air is great. The air is healthy at 94. It says VOCs are 0. Everything is optimal. But the light is a little bit too high. So I do need to have those shades installed, which are going to be installed on Friday, which I can't wait. But light is not even something that you might even think about. So UV exposure is good, but the overall light, there's too much red and green and blue in the light right now, according to this device. Now, the other one that I have is the Air Things. So I have this in every single room. So this shows my office stats. So CO2, VOCs, temperature, humidity, light, ambient noise, pressure. So again, they're very similar depending on which one you want to choose. So that is the gist of what we want to be thinking about. Another few notes is that I do have a building biologist and home inspection coming. So we did just move into this home. It is brand new, but at least once a year, I'm going to have a building biologist or home inspector come in to look for things like unseen EMF exposure. I'm going to be hardwiring a lot of my computer systems in my office so that I don't have that EMF from the Wi-Fi. Also, they will be looking for things like potential areas that mold could grow. We'll be rechecking the air. They will be checking levels of VOCs, even though I'm already doing that in my home, but it's a really comprehensive option. Especially if you're just about to buy your home. Like, we had a lot of testing done in our home before we even purchased it as contingencies, but it's great if you just want to upgrade your environment. They can do an in-depth search. So I'll include in the show notes a few of the building biologists and people and individuals and companies that actually do this type of work. The last couple things I want to mention is I've really loved this book, so I've ordered this, A Prescription for a Healthy Home. If you don't want to hire a building biologist, this really gives you tons and tons of information. I actually have used this a lot because we are installing a floor in our garage gym, which I will show you in our full house tour, but I wanted a 0 VOC garage gym floor. So when we think about garage gym floors, it's often that rubber that off-gasses a ton and you're breathing in these harmful particles while you're working out. Not a good situation. So we're going to do a cork floor, but because we're in Austin, the humidity is too high here and it would actually warp that cork. So we have found it's called called Gold Guard Certified, zero VOC flooring that we're gonna be having installed. We had to like order it, and it was a bit hard to find. So yeah, if you are doing a gym floor, I would do cork if it was no humidity or low humidity. And then I would do this, I can put a link in the show notes because I did a lot of research on this and had to make a lot of calls to figure out what the best option is. Last quick thing I will show you is we do have this Robo Rock. I'm gonna void the warranty here for myself, but I don't use like the regular cleaner that they include. I use this like Branch Basics non-toxic one in the water section. So this actually sweeps and mops every single night, but it's really important because we talked about having the hard surfaces because they're easy to clean. So you can definitely ensure you're on top of any debris that does come in, any dirt, any mold spores, and any really bacteria. So this cleans every night. And then I have the Dyson, which I love this one. It actually shows you how many particles it picked up, and it's always in the millions, so it's very satisfying. But then I'll do, you know, a quick sweep around anywhere else that we need to with the Dyson. So these are the ways that I've helped to reduce toxins in my home, and I hope that this video is helpful. If you enjoyed it, would love for you to share it with someone that you love. A like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that is really, really incredible, and I absolutely love it. So thank you for tuning in.